back with another weekly preview. It's AK47 over at Prime Trading Investments and TradeCaster.com. A full week past the election. Here we go. Last week, I was at a wedding, so I forgot. I was like, oh yeah, crap, I kind of forgot to alert to people, and I was going to be at a wedding on Sunday. So I didn't do the weekly preview, and boy, we had a big week. As you can see right here out of the gate, I just want to just, boom, right to the SPY. Of course, you can see last Tuesday, there she is, blew up from, 570 up to 600 almost on the dot, which I kept saying she's going to hit 600. She's going to be hitting 600, and there she is. I'm sure she'll still touch it and maybe go through it. But I've had a feeling by year's end, if not before the year's over, you go back and watch these. I was doing these in the summer. I've been doing these all year now. That the SPY would see at some point a pop up and move to 600 and squeeze to that before the year's over. My first initial claim was it'll do it by year's end or somewhere by then. And then I was like, hey, it'll probably do it by end of October, sometime in November. And here we are. And I was not expecting this. So this really helped it out. I wasn't like, oh, the election was going to do it. That wasn't my... that wasn't my thought. It was just, hey, this play has just gone up, up, and up. You put her back on the 180-day. It just was uptrending to do that. On these pullbacks, they shoot right back. It's like, boom, right? This was a quicker move, but this is a lot like what we've been doing. Some pullbacks a little bigger in the end where you thought maybe we'd do it here, and we didn't. We came down more. But most times, just here recently, it just has been on that nice surge overall on that push up, over the last year. Just to think, a year ago, we were at 430. 430 all-time high original area, and now we have surged $170. So a pullback's coming. Now I'm not saying like a lot of these people, there's a lot of kind of doomsdayers out there like, it's gonna go. Listen, we're gonna see a pullback, I'm sure, but it isn't gonna be this drastic major thing. People like the stock market to go up, and especially the SPY and everything that's going in it. It means everyone else that's investing, they're making a lot of money. Now I know, well, you can make money if it dips. Yes, definitely you can, but it's just like, NVIDIA last year and, like where it's at right now. And, which we'll get into in a minute. You see where NVIDIA is at now. It's still at all-time new highs, which if adjusted would be at 40. You get my point. So, yes, there will be pullbacks, but I don't know if there'll ever be this sudden crash unless something major happens along in the world and market, which doesn't really seem like we're going to have that as of now. So, just want to let that be a thing. As if we have a pullback, we'll get a pullback at some point. But if we do, 540s, 520s, maybe 500. You go back in time and everyone thought when we were going to crash and dipping down for more, when then 400 was the last dip buy right around in this area right here. So and then we just kept surging and going for more. So that's why I'd say if we get the dips, this is kind of what it was percentage wise what we'd get on normal years. We go up and we see the dips, but we kind of keep going. We just move bigger now because it's a ticker that costs $600. So this week, let's go to ranges. Normal high of week. I will say we make new all-time highs through 600. I'm not going to go too much higher, though, for a normal high of the week. These are all-time highs, so I don't really know. I'm just going to base on what I've seen in the past when these tickers, Meta, NVDA, etc., have popped into these levels. Netflix, another, anyway, so many we've seen over the past year get to 600. I will go with 602.50 to 603.50, somewhere in that area. As a normal high of the week, and we finally do get just kind of a normal sideways movement, and we stop going up after this huge, massive, like I talked about, $30 move in less than a week, really. So in the end, 602.50 to maybe 603.50. Ultimate high of the week, we surge and we keep going. We have maybe one more big day in us, and I see a move to 608.75 to 610 for your ultimate high of the week. It'll go through 605 and just go up to 608.75 to 610. On the way back on down, there's really not a lot to work with right here. So we're zooming right on in and going back under 698.50 or 697.50, my bad, for the move down to what was the high of day right here on Thursday. Now, kind of this is what I'd be doing tomorrow for levels, just so you know what I'm looking for when I see pullbacks. And then I'm not going to give more levels. You need to sign up for those morning alerts. Only 30 a month. Then we're coming down to here. And then eventually working our way down to me somewhere right around this 592 area for your normal low of the week. Somewhere in this basis right through there. A little mini sandwich, a little slider area. Old resistance equals new support. Your major pullback would have this move all the way back down to this juncture. After that, down to around 586 with the base maybe a little bit lower in the 585s. Where we just do have this multi-day or just even one day or two in there. This week, that's a big pull. Over to Jalapel. Get you an apple. Says TikTok Doc, and he says, I'm getting hungry, Dad, if you do hear my cat meowing. Well, we have two now. Again, lost McFly. But we still have Doc. But we have Lilu now. So Doc now has a girl, Lilu, from Fifth Element. And they're getting very comfortable with one another. But Doc is the meower for food. Now Lilu is becoming a meower for food. So if you hear meowing, it could be either one of them. Uptrend channel we have from last week on Apple right now as we move our way up. And I would say now we could base our way back out of this channel, which was sideways for quite a while. Or do we, crack this trend and come back on down? I think it's going to be one of the two things. So on the way up, I would be watching for, the sun starting to come right into my cheek over here, which is from like the little arch in the window that we have. Back under this 226 mark, not the full uptrend crack, which would be right around 224-ish area. But watch for this crack right here, this high or low of day, I should say, from Friday, and this reversal on Thursday for the move to Wednesday's high. If we crack this area right through here, we get a big tug down to 220, or big, but a good one down to 224 area. And then underneath that, I will go for normal low of the week because then you'd be basing on that trend line, and I'll go normal low of the week there. Ultimate low of the week would be a crack back down, and we crack that uptrend, and we go back down to around 220. On the way up, we continue to hold the trend, and we go up. Watch for a pop over 228 to 75 real right to 230. And I'll go over 230 to around 232-ish for your normal high of the week. Ultimate high of the week, then pops it up to 234.75, my bad. And then over that, I would start my ultimate highs there with a move into this 236.85 mark. Because even if we did go back a little bit further, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, there's not that was it. Yeah, so this would be your ultimate high of the week right here. I'm going to go normal highs right here at 232. On the way back on down, not the Amazon yet. No. Let's do the AMD. AMD did the trend crack, as you can see here on Friday. Did we crack back down through Friday's lows? If so, the trend's over. We'll come back down to around 145.50 to 145. Underneath that, watch for a move back down to the kind of the original I thought was going to be super crack zone, but it wasn't. So that's why I don't think it's going to be too major down to this 143 mark. But that'll be my normal low of the week, right around 143 if we crack, we continue underneath Friday's lows and the trend cracks. Ultimate low below that, and we could crack it. It's a decent sandwich it formed in the end. I like that, but the crack from it wasn't great. And so the sandwich in the end that was formed pretty nicely right there. Boom, boom, but right? That'll be my normal low of the week. Ultimate lows, you know me. I'm coming right on down to the bottoms here. I would go at least 140, 150, down to around 140. Mid 140s. For your move up, now we'll zoom out just a tad bit. Hey, we need to get back over Friday's high of day in 176 or 150.76. That's kind of the resistance in this uptrend, and then we failed and came down, which was a decent sharp uptrend channel right there. Over this 150 mark, 150, you can see that was old support resistance area. Then we popped to 154. I'm going to go with my normal high of the week of 154 there. My ultimate high of the week after that. Watch for a pop into this 158.75 roll. 156 could have a little trouble, but I think we get back up and move up with this uptrend. I think we get a little bit of a slower week. We typically do. And I should have probably let off with that, which I'll label that in the caption of this post. Usually the week after, especially an election, I would imagine. But just that week before, like the week or so that's like in between the new month and the full week of Thanksgiving, it gets slow. And so I'd imagine this week we get a little choppier and sideways again, kind of like what we got back here in this week. I would imagine I could see us getting something like this right here. Amazon, and that's across the board, not just AMD, by the way. Amazon got the big moves, man. Yeah, look at these moves like Jagger last week. I mean, let's zoom out so you can see them a little bit better and cleaner. But oh my gosh, after earnings in this little cup and handle and blow up from the election, which we had a great day on election. Then we raced like everything else did. It just was wow, all the way up to 212.25. Absolutely phenomenal. So my normal high of the week is going to be that 212.25 mark. Ultimate high of the week would be a pop into 215. To get to 215, we would have to have a good sized week again, and I just don't see us this continuation of all these big days. I mean, here was one. Here was one. There, that's decent because it did pop up right at the opening bell for sure, obviously. But other than that, then it kind of got slow, and it did get slow here. But we'll just call it 1, 2, 3, 4. Big day, and then that was after, of course, earnings. But 4-ish to 5 with earnings. That's a lot of big movement. And so I would go normal highs here, ultimate highs at 215. If you get over 212.50, which was my which I called for ultimate high of the day, I actually called for one more decent sized day on Friday in those morning alerts I give out. So I was 25 cents off from my ultimate high of the day. I would watch for a pop over this 212.25.50 mark to 215. That's just usually a magnet. Now back on down, back onto this low of day 207.50 mark. Now I'm still working with this as it works because the sun's going down. That means this is going up. It's terrible. I'm looking up because I have my TV off in front of me so I can actually see it. It's like right there on me. It's like, and if I go down, it's right in my eye. I can always lean forward and get really close to the camera, but I just feel like it's really creepy. Anywho, under 207.50, watch the 206 and below that down to 204.50, 205. I'm going to go normal low of the week there just in case we have a choppier week like I'm anticipating. Bigger crack would lead a move, in my opinion, all the way down to 200 to 202.50. 250, I should say 200 to 250. Somewhere right around here. 200 to 250 cents, that is. ARM. It's choppier. So I would leave this one alone. I bet we still channel up. We did have this huge day on Thursday. We can maybe still have one, but I bet we stay in this channel kind of right here where tops at around 158 to 160, bottoms at around 138 to 134. So, you know, just stuff that you aren't anticipating because there's gross. You know, that's even kind of gross, but gross. Okay, fine, good, but gross. Okay, fine, okay. That's decent at the bell, but then gross. That's gross. That's pretty gross. That's definitely gross. Okay at the bell, but then gross. It's pretty hard to trade up. It's pretty gross. That's definitely gross. You know, gross. There's a lot of gross days. That's why I just go straight on to Google up in this channel real quickly. Could cup and handle. Big thing right there. Could cup and handle. As you can tell right here, this big uptrend overall we were up into. I'll go back to like the 4 hours so you can see, you know, that cup and handle that could form right here with the base and the bottom. Being formed, in my opinion, which we failed at after earnings, and now we came up and failed at after the big spike up after the election. So I'm going to go with that as my normal high of the week, right around that 184 mark, 183.50 mark. My ultimate high of the week would be a pop back into, and you got to go back to that 4 hour. So over this, for my normal high of the week, watch for a pop somewhere right around 87.50 to 88.75 roll. On the way back on down, I mean, I really can't just go to the 5 day at this point, because, well, I might need a little bit more 5, but underneath Friday's low of day, watch for a crack down through at least this little 79.30, then to 78.85, 78.75 roll, you know, the low of day right there. And, of course, that leads to the high of day on Wednesday. But once we crack through that on Google, you know, then that cup and handle really will be not shaping up to be good anymore. That's why I'm only going with, do we channel up and form a longer handle? That's the normal high of the week. Ultimate high of the week, we pop up, and that, you know, we go to that up about $5 from there at least for a cup and handle breakout. But if we start cracking right through here, that cup and handle is done. We're going down to 76.75. We're then below that going all the way down to about 75, 74.50. That'll be my normal low of the week, ultimate low of the week, and you know the base here of what's been going on. You can kind of see the trend. We're at least moving down to 172, if not down to 170 for your ultimate low of the week. Meta, on that same kind of cup and handle breakout pattern, I just don't like the shape of it because you go a little bit further out. We'll do this like we did a little bit earlier, go to the 30-minute or 30-day, not 30-minute. You can do that if you wanted to, I guess. Just like 15, a little bit more. I'm trying to work my way out of this. I'm almost out of it, team. Oh, it's right there. All right. Worst time to cut, like worst timing for where we're at and situated. And it's like this really has never happened. And all of a sudden with the time change and where we're at in the earth and the sun and blinding right now. Bull flag set up as well, so this cup and handle could break out. So if we get over 595, this is definitely, in my opinion, shooting to 600 and over 600, which will be my normal high of the week. We'll race to the 608.85 mark. Normal or ultimate high of the week there. Normal 6, ultimate 608.75 area. Got to crack this 585 for the move down, and that cup and handle / bull flag's broken. Cracked Ola. We'll crack down probably to 580. That'll be a big day. Usually this will move. You know, it's been gross. It's kind of like ARM. There's a lot of gross days, but then there's a lot of big days, and especially at the open. Well, sometimes these aren't really opening moves anymore. They were there for a while, but not really so much right now, as I can tell really out of the gate. You're either making that. I mean, there was one opening bell move, but you know, that was later. You can tell there's a gap. There's a space. That was an opening bell. Finally erased. So that was an opening bell dumpo. Regardless, I still, though, underneath this 585 mark, would imagine you get a move down to 580. Below that, I'm going to go, because I'm going to go choppier week. I'm going to go 580, normal low of the week. Ultimate low of the week takes us then down to around 573.50. I just feel the chop coming in this week. A little bit like this, back to a little back to that across the board. Microsoft, not a big fan of here recently, honestly, in my opinion. And especially if we do have a choppier week, which I am anticipating. Stay away, stay away, stay away. Hey. All right, uptrend channel here on Netflix. Beautiful. Do we crack it? You could base the bottom one right there to be about 144. Got a new one coming in. It's already cracked it. Back under 146. We're going down to that 145, 144.50 mark. By that time, I'd bet that trend line has got there. It'll catch up to it. And if we crack that through 144, that trend is cracked. We're going down to 142. 142 will be my normal low of the week. Ultimate low of the week would come down to 140, maybe down to 138.75 roll. On the way up, I'm going with 150 still because it's all-time highs. I'm going with that as my normal high of the week for a choppier week. My ultimate high of the week over 150. Watch for that pop into 152.50. Maybe 155. I just don't see it getting that big this week. I mean, last week was a big week, and that move up, honestly, the last week and a half, I'm like, I just see this. I always just want to be bright as why I'm struggling. I'm like, oh, do I want to give it more room over 150? I don't know. I'm going to go 152.50 to 153.50. That'll be my ultimate high of the week. I just say we base up somewhere in there and we just don't go. I'll be surprised. I shouldn't say surprised. I feel like I've seen it all. But I will be like, whoa, really? Netflix, I do kind of want to bring up just because it went to this 800 area and all-time highs. It's kind of choppy. Over 800, I'll go ultimate high of the week, kind of like I'm talking about with the SPY. And even right there with NVDA, and just go barely over 800. 802.50 to 803.50. Ultimate high of the week. Over that, just like the SPY, watch for move to 80. I'll go a little bit more on the SPY. Ultimate high of the week, watch for move through 810 to around 812.50. Ultimate highs there. On the way back on down, under 790, watch for the crack to 785. And I believe that still was not yet. That's what I want to do with 785 area, this little juncture. And then below that to around, because I want to go ultimate low of the week of 770, 772. So I'll go somewhere right in between there. 780 as my normal low of the week. I'm trying to keep it a little choppier. I'm just thinking a little chop across the board. I want to get back to NVIDIA or NFLX, so I knew it was at all-time highs. Same here with Q. The Qs, baby. Over 515, watch for the move for your normal high of the week to 518.75. Your ultimate high of the week would take it to 520 and maybe a hair over it. Maybe like to 521.50, somewhere right around there. Over, or I should say over. Back under this little juncture of 511.80 to 512, somewhere in there. This will crack down to around 510. Below that, going down to 507.50. Ooh, I'm getting a little too big for my normal low of the week. Gonna make that a bigger week though. I wouldn't do it. Man, this one, these areas at all-time highs get a little tough, and I feel like it's gonna be a choppier week. I will go 507.50 to 50 somewhere, and there is your normal low of the week. Your ultimate low of the week takes it to 505, maybe a crack down to 503.50. It's a little bit bigger. I don't have a lot to work with there. Tesla, again, another one of these not moving to all-time highs. I'm pretty sure we've been higher than this before. Yeah. But we are surging with the Elon supporting Trump, and here we go. And I mean, here we go. Talking about 250. We're not moving like old school Tesla days, but just since earnings, we've gone from 212 to 328 in a matter of 3 weeks now or so. That's pretty nice. I would say that's going to be a key juncture right there. I know the VWAPs are now. I mean, I thought like a day trader. Like, oh my gosh, team, if this cracks the VWAP and this bounce in there. Anyway, 516.50 cracks. Watch for a move down to 512 or 312. Under 312. Because I'm going to go 300 ultimate low of the week. I'm going to go right here at 311.50 normal low of the week. I know I just don't see that continuation of massive days, in my opinion, this week from Tesla. I'm going to go with this 311.65 mark for your normal low of the week, somewhere right around there, 312. Your ultimate low of the week takes it down to 300, and you would get more of a bigger week in the end. And that's still not that big of a week because we just moved $28 on Friday. I just don't see that happening again this week. Now, if it does, and we just start this new trend for a minute where Tesla starts moving bigger, but we did that earlier in the year with SPY. SPY was when it was bouncing around like 500 or whatever, when it had that pullback, we were having 10, 15, 12, we were having $10+ days. Right? It's not going to happen. You know, it catches a little flame there for a minute and then exhausts, especially after a weekend. So that's what I'm sticking with for now. And again, that whole couple of weeks before Thanksgiving, right in the middle of November, it's really slow. People are ready for Christmas and they're shopping, kind of getting just a lot of other stuff kind of going on right now. It just never seems like this is the week for some reason. We'll see though. On the way back on up, over 875 roll. Do you see how this works all the way on up? Watch for the move up to 230. Let's go back here just so I can see this again. Just so I can make a little more sense of it in my brain. And say, hey, what does make sense for over 330? Man, there's a lot of kind of resistance in that area. Old support resistance area. I'll say watch for a move essentially to 331. Maybe 332.50. We'll go with that. Your ultimate high of the week. Watch for a move up to 343 to 345 for Tesla. Where we could still have maybe another good sized move, but nothing too crazy. Again, like I said, where we're at now, that makes about sense. Maybe about 20 up, maybe about 20 down at most, somewhere in there. Where 300 is the bottom, 345, 340, like I was saying, 342.50 being the tops. All right, there you go. Your levels for the week. I, again, think more of a choppier week's coming up here with the SPY and other plays. We had this huge race up after the election last week. And then really, I feel we still stay strong and bullish, hopefully toward the rest of this year, though. And I'd imagine that's what we get. You know, it took a while to get there this fall so far, where last year we were at all-time highs and kind of were already racing up. And we're making, move on move on move. You go through still a lot of these plays. You have to go back, you can just see here. The SPY we just kept going. We've been a little more lackluster and especially here recently, right? We're, I think now finally, but if you go back to like last October and what we were doing throughout the rest of the year, I think we might start doing this right here possibly, where this is where we are now for that, big move up. We're here, boom to boom, boom to boom. There's the boom to boom. And then we start, making that nice good move, as we typically do toward the end of the year a lot of the time. All right, see you back next week again as we move through December or November. I'm already in December.